What's going on, traders? Welcome back to the weekly market outlook. We're heading into a new week where the macro picture is starting to shift quite noticeably, and this is exactly the kind of environment where traders either adapt or get caught in the wrong side of the move, as it's been over the last couple of weeks. One of the biggest developments has been the sharp slowdown in growth expectations. We've gone from the strong GDP projections to a much softer outlook, and that's not something that the markets just ignores. When you see growth fall off that quickly, it changes the entire narrative. It's no longer just about expansion and risk on sentiment. It becomes more about sustainability, caution, and how the markets reprice that new reality. And that's where things get interesting. Because right now we're in a bit of a transition phase. On one side, you've got slowing growth, which typically pressures equities and risk assets. But on the other side, you've still got uncertainty around central bank policies. So the question is, are we heading towards rate cuts sooner than expected, or are central banks going to hold rates higher for longer despite the slowdown? That tension between slowing growth and policy uncertainty is what's driving a lot of volatility, that we're seeing right now. You can see it across multiple markets. Equities aren't moving with full conviction. The dollar has been reacting to shifts in expectations. Yields are fluctuating as traders try to price the next move. It's not a clear trending environment, it's a reactive one. And that's important because reactive markets require a different approach. So this is not really the kind of week where you want to be forcing trades or overexposing yourself. It's kind of an environment where patience and execution is what matters more than anything else. We're also seeing some divergence across assets, which is another signal that the market is still trying to find direction. Some sectors are holding up relatively well, while others are starting to show signs of weakness. That kind of mixed behavior usually comes after a bigger move, but the key is not to try and predict it too early. As traders, our job isn't to guess where the market is going, it's to react to what the market is showing us. And right now, what it's showing us is uncertainty, hesitation, and shifting sentiment. So there's a whole lot of traders getting caught out. They try to impose their bias on the market instead of reading what it's actually telling you. You'll see traders chasing moves after they've already happened, or trying to trade every small fluctuation instead of waiting for high probability setups. But in conditions like this, it's less is often more. Traders who perform best in these environments are the ones who stay disciplined, protect the capital, and wait for the market to come to them. Now, make no mistake, there will be opportunities this week. There always is. In any markets, there's always opportunities if you know how to read them. But these opportunities won't come from overtrading or emotional decisions. They'll come from clarity, patience, and execution. So going into this week, the focus is simple. Stay selective, manage your risk properly, and don't get caught up in the noise. Let the market show you its head first, or show you its hand first, then look to take advantage of the moves that follow. In this video, we're going to break down, the overall sentiment, the key areas. I'm going to look at the charts and break it down. And I'm going to show you how I will approach this week in terms of trading and perspective. So, that being said, we are going to now look into what news is coming out this week. We'll also break down the charts and what's happening, crypto as well. We do know that Trump this week has had a lot going on. They've obviously announced the ceasefire, which we saw quite a spike in the markets, with the dollar crashing quite a bit, with gold starting to surge to higher highs. Not higher highs, but starting to create momentum to the upside. But with that all being said, we know that Israel has broken the ceasefire, and they're saying that they did not agree to the ceasefire. So there's a lot happening on that front. There's still a lot happening in terms of the wars and stuff that's going on. So the markets are definitely still going to be volatile. There's going to be a lot of moves. But that being said, let's go look at what's happening this week in terms of the news. So, looking at the news this week, there is 2 days that are, I would say, you need to sort of note out. But as always, though, in these types of times that we are currently in, the markets can move extremely volatile at any moment. So, Monday, no red folders on the cards. I think it's pretty not a bad day for trading. Should see some volatility. But Tuesday, we do have core PPI and PPI dropping at the same time. So this would be quite a volatile move in the market. Then on Wednesday, we don't have anything bad. On Thursday, if you do trade AUD or GBP, we do have some big red folders on the cards for that day. Other than that, the rest of the week is pretty, simple, nothing too hectic on the cards. So it should be a pretty good week in terms of news, having that freedom to trade. Naturally being said though, at Real Funded, you're allowed to trade news, so that's not something to look out for, but obviously you always want to manage your positions and make sure that your positions are managed correctly. So looking at the charts this week, obviously in Friday's live, we watched the live news event that happened. We were looking for sells. The market ended up selling, but we didn't catch them in the live, but it was a good session nonetheless. So now looking into the dollar, when the ceasefire notification happened, we know that the price surged to the downside incredibly fast. It was really quick, and on this chart there was a gap, but it was quite volatile, and then we have now sort of caught this bottom. With this bottom that's being caught, is it the bottom? We don't really know, but we could expect price to push back up, especially if the ceasefire is over and the war continues. Then we know that price could potentially start to make its way up. If we were looking at that, we could see gold start to push to the downside, which we could potentially see. At the moment, you can see that gold has taken liquidity here. We've pushed to the upside, and we're starting to see momentum coming down. So if we hold this level and we start to break this level here, we can potentially expect price to start creating structure to the downside. So that's something that I would be looking at this week. Obviously, in watching what's happening with the ceasefire, if the ceasefire continues or if the ceasefire, is cancelled, especially from the American side, because at the moment it is only being Israel that has broken the ceasefire. So I would say that if the ceasefire is broken from both sides, we can expect price to continue its way down. On the indices part, indices has been surging, making bullish structure. As you can see, has been following all the structure that we've sort of been expecting. With the ceasefire though, it's hard to say. This is a strong area of resistance that could potentially bounce off, but with the current market conditions, we can expect price to push up. Looking at GBP USD, with the dollar spiking to the downside, obviously GBP USD will push to the upside. Same thing with Euro USD, so we can expect this to continue if the dollar does continue to make its way down. Looking into crypto space, we've got XLM USD, which is an altcoin. We've sort of seen most of these altcoins had this spike, and then prices started rallying to the downside. We've broken the lows here, so we could potentially see a continuation. We have Litecoin as well, where we had the spike followed to the downside. This, on the other hand, though, is sort of creating some good structure to the upside. So I think the alternate crypto space is very mixed at the moment. That being said, though, we've got Bitcoin. We also saw Bitcoin have the spike, and this was the same time as the news of the ceasefire. So we had that spike, and now we are pushing to the upside. So that is some good news. Obviously, we had Japan has come out and openly said that they will now start looking to invest into crypto as the country's holdings. So it won't just be gold and oil and those types of reserves. So they are looking to add Bitcoin into their reserves. Well, not Bitcoin, but crypto in general. And other than that, the markets are looking very good for this week. As I always say though, make sure that you look into following your rules. Don't just jump into any trade that you want to jump in. Take your time, wait for trades to follow your plan, wait for the trade to come to your areas of interest, and really just be patient with it. In these types of markets, or in general, trading in general, those who are patient are the ones that plan and sort of get the success that they want. Hope you all have a great week ahead, and just join the Discord if you have any trading questions. I'm happy to answer them all day. Cheers everyone, have a good one.